I'm here with my batch of starter, and I want to show you an effective and fairly simple way to store your starter in a dormant state for an extended period of time. By drying your starter, as I'll demonstrate here in a second, you can easily store and forget about it for months at a time. Storing your starter in this way can be useful if you just want to back up in case something disastrous happens to your regular batch. It's also a great way to transport your starter if you're moving residences, for example, or if you want to mail some to a friend. What I do is take an ordinary piece of parchment paper, I bought this at the local grocery store, and smear on a thin layer of starter with a rubber spatula. When you're storing your starter like this, the dried method, make sure you're taking your starter from a very vibrant, healthy batch, one that you've been feeding on a regular basis and recently. By going thin, it will dry a lot faster and flake off easily. You can also use ordinary wax paper. I've done that and it works okay. It just doesn't flake off as easily. I've also heard that you can use plastic wrap, like a saran wrap stretched across a cookie sheet, but I haven't tried that myself. So that's fun. It only takes a few seconds. Now I just put the parchment paper in the oven with the light bulb on. The light bulb generates just enough heat to dry the starter in a few hours. You can also leave the oven closed with the light off overnight. Works just as well. Okay, I've left this starter in the oven overnight, so it's very dry now. You may be able to see that the starter has started to separate from the parchment paper on its own, and should separate completely very easily once we just turn it over. It's a little tricky sometimes to get it into a bowl without getting it all over the place. So I use a wide bowl, but as you can see it separates quite easily. Then I just use the back of a metal spoon to smash it up. And then it's ready to freeze. You can store it in the refrigerator and it'll store for at least months at a time. And if you store it in the freezer, it will last indefinitely. Now this part is totally unnecessary, but it's fun to do. I like to put it into a mortar and pestle and grind it up to a finer state. And after a few seconds of doing this, it's real easy just to put it into a plastic Ziploc bag like such. And it's ready to store or mail off to your friends and relatives. That's about it for this episode. There's another video just below this on resuscitating your dried starter. It's particularly gratifying to watch this lifeless substance come back to life to serve you loyally for years and years.